There we go. Hey, beautiful Lou. Can you just quickly just type into the chat box just so I know that you're connected to it? Oh, you can't hear. I also can't hear you. Technical glitch. Oh, Roxy, just to let you know that your messages are coming through privately.
Oh, okay. What, just to you?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can change that. Oh, maybe, yeah, I got it. Because I replied to your message, that's why.
Oh, I see. That explains. Okay, so let's just drop into the body, closing our eyes, taking a deep breath in. And just connecting to where we're at, without expectation, without judgment. Just bringing ourselves into the now. Feeling where we're at. Feeling where our bodies are at. And allowing ourselves to ground in what feels important, to ground into what we're calling in and get really clear on what we're asking for in this journey together. I think the beginning of this call I'd like to use for us to really connect a little bit deeper as a group. So with the intention of connecting with those of you who are here, and also with the intention of connecting with those who are going to be watching on the replay, just feeling a little bit more understanding of who's here, where people are at. I know that there's been a lot of resistance. I know that Lou has issues with her sound right now. Yeah, I'm aware that a lot of the women have been feeling like a lot is coming up, and the container for that to be held hasn't quite been established. It's being established, and the level of resistance really speaks back to the level of work that's happening internally. But feedback that I've heard from a lot of women in this group so far is that there's a lot of resistance around stepping in. There's a lot of fear around stepping up and facing what's coming through. And so I'd really like to use the beginning of this call to just connect personally with you and hear from you where you're at with this journey. There's no right and wrong. There's no expectations, just the honest truth, where you're at, how you're feeling, and what your intention is, what it is that you're wishing to call in, what you're wishing to connect to in the coming weeks. I think I'm going to go first. I'm going to speak back to that first. So right now I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling really, really trusting of this process, and being able to see everyone and kind of knowing everyone in the group allows me to really feel into how much is happening in this collective group already in a very silent way. I can see how the group is allowing for things to surface in different areas for different people. And for some, those connections are being made back to the group, and others not quite yet. But I feel like that's really promising, and it speaks back to so much of what I believe in when it comes to sisterhood and community and being able to witness each other in this process. So I'm in South Africa now, and I'm feeling like really, really good, really yummy, really juicy, happy to be back with my lover, and really ready to be just stepping into this work with you all. A lot of you have booked in your sessions with me now. A lot of you have really started to step into the kind of the personal one-on-one work. And that's really exciting because I'm starting to feel where you're all at individually and what that's doing for the collective. So my intention moving forward is deepening the container that we're all working within, deepening the container of this relationship. Is that Lou with sound? Can you hear us? Yeah, I'm gonna mute Lou quickly. Okay. So my intention is for this container to deepen, this sense of community to deepen, this togetherness in the group, to really start holding something stronger so that all of this charge, all of this stuff that's coming through to be processed can be stepped into. Container is so vital. Safety is so important for us to really step in at a pace that suits us. And that's why I have no upset or confusion around the resistance that is happening. For me, it's part of the work, and it's a big sign that we're about to be stepping into something pretty big and pretty transformational. So I'm feeling patient, and I'm calling in a really strong container and a really, really strong sense of safety in the group, so that we can all be held by it, so that we can all go deeper and into the spaces that we need to in order to connect with ourselves in a way that serves us really profoundly. Yeah, that's me. I'm feeling let's I'm just gonna unmute probably Roxy first, just in the order that you showed up in, that you came in. And yeah, Roxy, if you could just let us know where you're at. It doesn't have to be too long, just where you're at, how you're feeling about the process so far, and what you're calling in, what you're really wanting to share with the group as well. If there's anything that you wish to speak to the group directly, then please do. This is a moment for people to get to know your face and your voice, and who's here a little bit more. So I think I've unmuted you. Hello.
Yes, hi, hello. I'm really feeling really glad to be here. I feel, again, this is like being here in body as well. So on the camera it's like reminding me of the first time I did the film. And actually that feels really good, because I definitely feel that I want to sort of allow more self-expression and comfort in that way, and in order to really connect with the group. So, and I'm feeling a little, maybe I feel a lot going on with the group, but I think I felt a little like not withdrawn. I've just been feeling so sick, I literally can't concentrate. So I'll try and read something and I'll get a quarter of the way through and I'm like, oh, I'll read it later. because that's just how my focus has been. So yeah, I've been struggling with that. I feel a lot better today. Yeah, I feel a lot better today. I've just been asleep for like 2 hours and I've got into the habit of just setting a phone alarm for every appointment. So I wake up, or I'm alerted like 10 minutes before, and then I've got those minutes to get ready. And sort of that's feeling like a nice guide for me to sort of feel confident enough, I think, to join the phone call and to do that. So I've like set myself the time for the private session as well, and then for this, and just thought, oh yeah, I can get into it like that, and sort of sit and take a few breaths and then be ready. I was thinking I have one thing to share today, which is like for Thursday, so Throwback Thursday. It is Thursday, right? I've just, I was just thinking of it. I've just realised I'm just visiting at my parents' house right now. And I'm in my like old bedroom, which then became my sister's room. I'll just give you a little show. And this is like my old bed. It's like a bunk bed that my dad built. And for some reason, I haven't done this for years and years and years, but like I'm just lying on the double bed, which is below. I was like, I need to sleep. This is just after my call with Yana. And then I had to go to Buckfastleigh for an appointment and then come back. And then I was just like, I need to sleep. I've had a really busy sort of morning, and then last night as well. And I just looked at the bunk bed and I was like, I know I want to sleep there, because I just feel like that's the sleep I need. And I haven't slept there properly since I was 10 years old. So I slept there for like 8 years solidly. And it was like the best thing ever, because it's a really high bunk bed. So it goes all the way from like here all the way up there. And I used to do a lot of gymnastics, so I was like a monkey child, and I'd climb up there and like swing down. And I was like, I need to get up there, so I just ended up going up there, and I've just been asleep for 2 hours. And it was just such kind of clean sleep. It was so nice. So that's a throwback, such a funny throwback. That I wouldn't have expected me bothering to climb up there or anything. I literally had to get my mum to help lift me up. It was quite funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to share a throwback or two before from last week, and didn't really get the chance, but I did have one last week as well, and I wanted to write it down, and it was there, and then I didn't sort of find that moment to do it. But,
amazing.
Yeah.
So what are you calling in? What's your intention moving forward?
So gosh, my intention, I think it's sort of maybe rediscovering energy again in my body, and not being afraid of it. Like I feel like that. I feel like I've been low on energy for like ages, and then also with being pregnant as well, then that kind of adds to that, and you think it does, and then I was it's about sort of being able to let that go, release that, and just allow that energy to come. Yeah. So that's my intention, to reconnect with that energy, and maybe doing it through nature more. Yeah. So being outside.
Nice. Yay. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yay. So, Christine.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, let's just meet Roxy quickly. There we go. Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I'm just feeling really exhausted after our session today. Like wiped out. There are no thoughts or words forming so much. But I had a really good time after our session. Just like releasing and writing and burning, and yeah, it was good.
Nice.
And I don't have so much to say, but I can say like I've been feeling disconnected a bit from the process, and like always feeling behind and not really making time for sitting down and feeling into stuff. And I think that's what I want to call in more, like after a session, making a commitment to the process, and stop distracting myself and avoiding, tolerating. Like I'm tolerating and compromising a lot. So recommitment to listen to my body.
Nice. Yeah, a lot came up for you in our session. I can imagine that that's a lot to be moving through at the moment. So go really gentle, really, really gentle with yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And do you have anything to speak back to the group? The group as a whole, other women now, other women watching later?
Yeah, I look forward to connecting more, like being stronger in our connection. But I'm also not impatient. Like I know it will come organically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Lou, let's unmute you. Hello, hello. Can we hear you?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I literally was like frantically running around trying to get it to work, just pressing buttons. And I'm on my phone, so it's all good. Thank you. What? So this is just in. I didn't catch what the.
Yeah, you didn't catch the beginning. So this is just wanting to connect the group a little bit deeper, wanting to let people in on who's here and where we're at. You know, people who are here now, but also the women who are going to catch this on the replay. My intention for this call, or one of my intentions for this call, is to really strengthen the container of the group so that all of this resistance can be moved through and dissolved. So yeah, just speaking about where you are at, how you're feeling about the process, and what your intentions are moving forward. And then anything to the group as well, if you wish to say.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling like it's brought up a lot for me. Like, yeah, it's been a mental week. I've had something huge surface from when I was a child to do with I'm going to write a post about it so I can say everything properly, but I will just give you a little breakdown on what's happened. But essentially it's come up that my uncle, when I was about 8 years old, essentially tried to rape me. It's kind of come out of nowhere, and so I've been kind of freaked out about how much I've pushed it down and not really acknowledged it for 21 years, and it's been really tough. But anyway, I feel like in such a positive place because I've found so much. I feel like I'm being witnessed so much with the process, and it's really helping me through it, and I'm finding a lot more that I'm seeing my own strength through it, underneath strength and kind of calm underneath the kind of storm. It's like an inner knowing that this, once I work through this, that I will find so much more light once I shift this shit out of me, basically, and just let it go and work through the emotions. But I'm feeling so many different emotions because there's so many different levels involved at this, and I think I keep stepping in further and further and further into it, and I'm finding it quite hard to keep up with like the stuff in the group. I've just kind of decided to be a little bit softer with myself and just accept that I am where I'm at and I'll do it when I can, and that it is just, like you said, Jana, an invitation to be involved. And it's not like, you know, you don't have to do anything you don't want to, but it's good to share and it's good to be interacting. But equally, if you're not in a good place and you're just needing to do your own shit, then that's all good as well. It's like learning to just kind of accepting where I'm at, really. I feel really like, even though it's so hard, like I feel like I'm so much stronger. Like I feel like I'm coping so much better with the support from everyone, even though we are quite like doing our own journey. It feels like as a whole we're really supported. It's just sort of like a collective kind of witnessing. I feel like I'm being witnessed collectively. Yeah, I'm not really communicating what I'm going through just as openly as I would like to in the future. It's just I'm processing right now what's happening to me. But it's just so good to be part of something so beautiful, and I feel really grateful, to be honest, to be here.
Yeah, it's been really big. And for those who are watching, Lou has already been through the pelvic bowl activation with me. So she's already been through the sessions, and now she's stepped into the course as supplementary content. So she's like stepping into this in a slightly different way to everyone else in the group. But it's really serving a lot. And Lou has taken on this method of emotional clearing for herself as well. So I'm going to be teaching it to everyone in the group in a couple of weeks, but Lou's already taken it on. So the way I've been able to hold her through this process has been with, you know, advising her on self-clearing and things like that, which has been really, really beautiful, really powerful. And yeah, just again, really feeling like the power of the group as a collective, and really feeling how that's something that we can tap into. So we have this group, and this group can hold us, and we can work with that in a few different ways. What I was sharing with Lou earlier is that we can either share what we wish to release and allow the group energy and the group journey to release this, to serve the release process of it, or we can also place our wins or our recognition of this journey into that space in order to be able to power up everyone else. So if you feel like there's something that you want to share and be witnessed in, or share that you feel is going to be beneficial to everyone else in the group, please do so, for the pure fact that it's gonna charge up the collective energy, which is what we are all riding with. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Everyone here? Yeah? So, yeah, just collectively journeying through this and acknowledging the collective and the individual, and the collective and the individual, and the collective and the individual that is always happening, all the time, everywhere. I feel like the collective and the individual is a really big part of understanding women's work, right? So when we tap into any kind of trauma, when we tap into any kind of story, it's our own story, but it's also the story of women. It's also the story of the collective. So if something happens to me as a woman that resonates with the collective narrative of women and what we are all going through, we end up tapping into something which is far greater than ourselves, which creates a new relationship to other women and to ourselves and to the situation and to what's going on. And this is a space that we can utilize to really explore that, to explore how we as an individual connect to the collective and how the collective relates to us, and what that means for us personally, how we wish to navigate that personally, because it's different for everyone. How we wish to navigate this information personally really shifts from individual to individual, and also from day to day. So sometimes we really want to resonate with this collective thing, and we look at things like the Me Too campaign that's been going around, and people want to tap into this collective story. It's like, yeah, me too. I'm part of that. And sometimes we don't want to be part of anyone else's stuff, and we want to just be in our own space and do our own thing. So we're going to fluctuate throughout the whole journey between identifying with the collective and identifying with simply just ourselves as a being. And that feels like a really nice thing to just throw out there to you all to explore in your own time as a concept, whilst we move through all of this. Is this making sense? Is this beneficial to you? Feel free to type in the box your responses in the chat, or just like a thumbs up. Also, if you have any questions at any point, please drop them in the chat and I'll get to them. Amazing, thank you. So I really want this call to be exploring the pelvic bowl, to be a bit of a follow-on, but a little bit more interactive than the previous call that I was in where I shared my story. I'd like us to engage with the content of the video that I did, so the week 2 video, which travels through. Has everyone seen that video? Just a quick hands up for who has seen that video and who hasn't. Okay, cool. Okay, so Roxy has. Okay, so we've got 1 who hasn't and 2 who have. So this video really tracks the different spaces in the pelvic bowl and how the different spaces relate to different areas of our life. And I can talk and talk and talk and talk about the different areas. We are actually going to be going through weeks that relate, like a whole week that relates to each of the areas. So we're going to be going into each of these spaces in depth and really exploring what that is and how we relate to that personally. So how that works for us. Because a lot of this work is interpretive. A lot of this work is you understanding how to interpret your body, how to interpret the signs, how to interpret the signals, how to interpret the symbols and the messages and the meaning in various things that come up. And part of that is also interpreting this information that I'm sharing with you and understanding how that applies to your day-to-day life and what you wish to do with that. So I'd like to invite you all just to move your body a little bit and shake at the root. So just activating where you're sitting, just moving your body and moving this pelvic bowl space, really dropping into your hips. And bringing your awareness to this space. So where we send our mind to, we activate. The things we speak of and think about, we activate. So just sending our mind to this space is going to activate this space. So sending our mind with positive thought and positive energy is going to activate this space in a positive way. So just moving around and finding awareness of what's in this space for you. How connected do you feel to this space? Can you feel where your ovaries are? Can you feel the energy of them? Can you feel your womb? Can you feel the walls of your womb and the space of your womb? Are those separate spaces that you can tune into? And let me really emphasize at this point that there is no right and wrong. There is healthy, but there is healthy to you, and it's for you to understand what health means, right? So I'm not here to tell you how you should be. I'm here to offer you ways to explore yourself in deeper ways. Feeling into your vagina, feeling into the various quadrants. Can you feel the different spots? Are you aware of what's happening in there? Can you sense what's being held? Your clitoral energy, your clitoris, also your cervix. So tuning into your cervix and the movement of your cervix. All of these spaces are constantly moving, constantly going through their cycles, through their motions, constantly shifting and changing. And part of this dance is being able to move with it, being able to interpret and understand the fluctuations and the cycles and the energy and the way that the energy moves in order to come into a closer relationship and a more intimate space with this power center inside of you. It's a space which holds so much power for us. It's unbelievable the amount of power that sits in this space. Part of the power that sits in this space is the power to release and the power to transform and shift. And when we're able to utilize this transformation power, we're able to do pretty much anything we can possibly think of with our life. The reason why this space holds our trauma is because this is where we transform and release from. Just tuning into this space for yourself and feeling into where feels strong and where feels a little bit more hazy perhaps, or vague, absent. With the inhale, the in-breath, charge up these spaces inside of you. And with the exhale, sink deeper into these spaces. Inhaling charges it up, and exhale sinks deeper. Just using this breathing method, this breathing tool, to sink deeper into your body and charge up the power and the energy that sits inside of you. And as you sink deeper, just bring your hands to this space and prod and poke and massage and stroke, touch in whatever way you feel you want to touch, to explore how this space responds to you, bringing a new level of physical attention and awareness to it. Does it feel like things move? Does it feel like things expand? Does it feel like things contract? Is there love or is there fear? What's happening inside of you when you drop into this space? When you drop into it deeper, when you drop into it with physical touch included. Really connecting with the truth of your body, and where your body is at right now is not necessarily where it will be at in an hour or in a day, and certainly not in a week or a month. It's a relationship that we're cultivating here. Moving your body, just shaking it out. And with this shaking, just come to center and bring your awareness to this space and to the screen again, to this conversation that we're having. And could each of you please share a little bit of what's coming up for you? Where are you at? Where did that take you to? How are you feeling about your body? How are you feeling about your connection to your body? Is it there? Is it present? Are there certain spaces which are more alive? Is there certain tasks that are being asked to do, or messages that are coming through? If you could just take a moment to just feedback to the group, feedback to me where you are at in relation to that, in relation to dropping in. Mm. 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 So while you're typing, I would like to share a little bit about this fluctuation that happens. I would like to share about how my body is constantly in cycles, the same way all of our bodies are. In the same way that we get affected emotionally and physically by our menstrual cycle, different spaces in our body get affected in various ways. And this expansion and contraction which happens is a continuous thing, right? It's a relationship. It's like any relationship. We have good times, we have bad times, we have arguments, we feel connected, we feel disconnected. And it's about understanding the tips to reconnect when we've disconnected that I'm really interested in engaging you all with. So this isn't to say that you will always be connected. This is to say that you will always have the tools and the understanding of how to connect, how to reconnect when you've fallen out of connection with your body. There was a time recently where I was in a space where I contracted hard. I didn't feel safe, and I felt abandonment. And it triggered a lot in my body, and my body just like closed up completely. And this closing up resulted in me feeling completely numb. And I was in a space where I was like, damn, I'm the pelvic bowl activation person. People come to me for this stuff. People think of me for this stuff. And right now I can't connect. My abandonment is preventing me from feeling connected to my body. What's going on? And it took me a while to remember that it's about having the tools to connect. It's not about always being connected. And slowly I went through this process of unfolding and opening and reconnecting again to the space inside of me. And once I reconnected, it was like, aha, I know this. Like, I know this. I know the signs. I know the signals. I know this voice. I know how it speaks to me. I know how to read it. I know how to interpret it. I know how to speak back to it. And this disconnection and reconnection is something that may well happen for us all. So yeah, just to be aware that that's part of the process and part of the journey. And if you're ever feeling a disconnect, if you're ever feeling like a contraction or resistance or wanting to curl up and not be engaged with this space in your body, that's okay. It's fine. It's fine to be disconnected, as long as you understand and remember and keep hold of the truth that you can connect at any time. You're always going to be able to reconnect. That feels like a really important piece to be sharing. So from Roxy, feeling some sickness, moving my body gently helps, and bringing the breath down to the pelvic bowl brings up a lot. There are also moments of groundedness, but it keeps shifting with thoughts that pop up. So to speak back to that, when we move our body, we move our energy, we move stuff. It's like anything. It's like we unlock what's going on inside of us. That's why being physical is such a powerful way of shifting things, right? Because we're physical in our body, we move our body, we move our energy, we get the blood flowing, we get everything pumping, and it moves through us. We can utilize breath for this. So breath alone. Physical exercise brings us into our breath. Singing, chanting, any kind of spiritual activity really links back to the breath. And so we can utilize our breath to sink deeper into this space. I wanted to speak back as well. This connects to a question that was asked in the group around, I just get thoughts when I drop into the space rather than, like, I don't know if it's my head or I don't know if it's my body. I'm not quite sure how it is or what it is. this is really part of being able to understand and interpret what's going on for you and what your body needs. So Roxy, for you, being able to bring the breath down and knowing that bringing the breath down into the pelvic bowl brings up a lot doesn't surprise me, and that moving it allows it to shift quicker. So it's almost like the movement is the integration of what the breath is bringing up for you, right? And being in that physical space, if you can just really connect to this thing of rocking around and moving your body whenever that sickness comes through, will likely be moving what becomes trapped. For me, when I travel, this feels linked, bear with me. When I travel, I get travel sickness a lot. And I've realized that I always feel travel sickness in my throat. The sickness is always in my throat rather than like in my belly. It's not a stomach thing, it's like a throat thing. And it's the throat and the root connection, right? So our pelvic bowl, especially our vagina, is linked to the throat through the vagus nerve. And it's the throat closing up and the root closing up that creates all of this motion inside of me, all of this movement inside of me that then makes me want to vomit, because that's an extreme release or a sense of release of the energy that's wanting to move through me. So the moment that I move, or the moment that my partner gives me a spinal flush, I get someone to do this like down my back, so does it quite often if we're traveling together, I'll probably burp a lot and I'll release it a lot, and then the sickness will leave. So it's being able to understand where the trapped elements of your body are, and being able to open them up so that the energy can move through your system fully. So breathing into the pelvic bowl is probably breathing into where a lot of stuff is happening for you, especially after just having had a session. So it's kind of like shaking it up. It's moving it all out. It's letting it bubble to the surface. And then we are releasing it through moving the body physically. Does that make sense? Does that help? Just a quick thumbs up or a wave or something as a yes. Amazing. So yeah, working with this, just really simply dropping into the body the way that we did just then, every single day, and tuning into what happens will help you to find the rhythms and the patterns and the predictabilities in how your body speaks to you. So you'll be able to know, oh, okay, if I just move around a little bit, then it's going to do this. If I breathe into my pelvic bowl, it's going to do this. If I breathe into different spaces, it activates things differently. So the more intimate you become with the various spaces in your body, the more intimate you become with the system at large, and you can understand, okay, maybe if I'm breathing into my womb space, it's going to activate something differently to if I breathe into this ovarian energy or my cervical energy or wherever it might be. From Lou, I was mainly drawn to my left ovary and a clear message to use my feminine energy, using it to be gentle and soft with where I'm at. That was all that came through for me. That's amazing. That's amazing. Like, that's what we want, right? And the biggest piece after that is actioning that and responding to that message. That's what it's about, right? So when you're able to drop into a space of like, what's my body asking me for? And you can be drawn to what's going on. You're able to respond to that specific space. So for you, Lou, with that being your ovarian energy, that's your creative energy, that's your ideas energy. So that's going really gentle with your ideas, going gentle with your creativity, going gentle with that fire. The ovarian energy is very much to do with like the fire of our body, the spice of our body, and going gentle with the way that you receive that fire, the way that you stoke that fire and breathe onto it. Like the way that life speaks to that energy inside of you is what you can explore. So even just journaling like message from my right ovary, message from my left ovary. How can I serve you? How can I serve this request? Being able to allow that message to come through into words is going to shift a lot for you. And coming back to this thing of how do I know if it's my head or my body? Allow it to be your head. Usually the first message that comes through is the message that's for you. Usually the first message that comes is the right message. And you'll find times where you're like, dude, that's the message. And you'll try to reject it and you'll be like, no, it's something different. It's not that. Like, what? That's what I need to do. But the more that you respond to those messages that come through, the more you will be able to fine tune, like, what's real for you, what you need to action, what you need to just hear and pass off. And what that ends up being is a relationship between the feeling and the way you translate the feeling into words. So if we think about the way that we communicate emotions, the word fear is relating or articulating something which is a feeling inside. And if you didn't have the word fear, or even if you do have the word fear, fear might not be the way that you articulate what's going on. So the one same emotion, the one same feeling can be interpreted through various different languages, through various different words, through various different ways of articulating and expressing what's going on. And the more you can fine-tune your understanding that the message and the words that the message is built upon is symbolic of what's happening in the body, the more you're able to start understanding what's underneath there. So it's like the words that I'm speaking are here and they are representing something which is beneath. This is something that I work with a lot in my sessions. I'll be talking to you. I'll be asking you about what's going on, and I'll be able to feel, because I'm dropped in enough from an empathy level, from a surrogacy level, I'm able to feel what's going on underneath. So I can sense, okay, when you speak about that thing, then there's fear. And that's what I can do with myself. I can speak or I can write, and I can sense like something feels off. Something doesn't feel like I'm lacking integrity there. Something's not quite right. Or that's not quite the right word, but it's something, there's something in that. So we can use the words that come through to us to unpack and untangle and, what's the word? Not translate, but we'll use the word translate for now. Translate what's actually being said beneath the surface. Language is a really good way to navigate. It's a navigation system. And when we can start using language as a navigation system, so when the message comes through for you, Lou, as like, it was a message to use my feminine energy, you're able to unpack that further into understanding what that actually means. And the more in tune you are with your body, the more you can kind of ask your body, okay, does that mean this? Does that mean that? Does that mean resting? Does that mean actioning? Does that mean some kind of inhale, receiving motion? Does that mean some kind of exhale, expressive motion? With it being the feminine, it's probably going to be inhaling, receiving something, allowing yourself to receive some kind of truth. But that might be putting yourself in a situation where you are receiving, you know, nature because you decided to action going for a walk. It could be that you choose to receive a different kind of atmosphere because you want to tidy up your room. There's various ways of understanding that you need to receive something different. Does that help? Is that useful? Is everyone getting something from this? Is this speaking to you? Yeah? So, Christine, it feels different than before our session. More energy present, more connection. It's still not clear communication though, but I feel closer to this part of me and confident that I'll be able to use the wisdom that's in there to navigate if I make more of an effort to connect on a regular basis. My womb has always been my truth compass, but it's been a while since I felt it. So this for you is really just being able to, like you say, exercise more of a regular commitment to speaking to it. Enough so to be able to understand the patterns. So it takes a level of repetition for us to recognize our behavior and our patterns and what our thing is. So when we first start learning about our cycles, our menstrual cycles, the different phases, it takes a few months for us to, that's okay, Roxy. It takes a few months for us to really understand, like, oh, okay, every time that I'm in pre-ovulation, this is what it feels like. Oh, this is a pre-ovulation thing. It takes a certain amount of tracking. So if you can be dropping into your body every single day and observing as much as possible what's coming through for you, in terms of that truth compass, then you're going to be able to start feeling into the patterns. Okay, if I'm feeling low on energy, then it's harder to connect. Or if I'm feeling like low self-esteem, or if I've been running myself into the ground all day because I've been actioning too hard, or if I've been in my masculine too much, or if my partner has been a particular way with me, then my body is likely to respond in this way. And the way that I can speak back to my body is like X, Y, Z. And this is going to be different for every single woman. Every single woman has her own blueprint, has her own patterns, has her own system, has her own specifics of what comes through and what sits in these various stages of various different cycles. The more that you can access this, the more that you can keep breathing into it, the more you also tell your body, hey, I want to connect with you. Hey, I'm interested in connecting with you. So as women, we've become disconnected from this space. Generationally, we've been disconnected from this space. Society disconnects us from this space. It's like shame that space, disgusting, not good enough. And there's a lot of emphasis put on that, right? Like, disgusting, or shaming around sensuality and sexuality. So a combination of this disgust and this shame that comes through, as well as this pressure to live up to something, just confuses us and jams up our system and kind of disconnects us from it completely. Because when we're being bombarded with these messages of you have to be this particular way, you have to be the kind of woman, you have to be like this in order to be enough, but don't be too much, we end up just, it just becomes too much. We end up disconnecting, and that disconnection is something that then speaks back to us. So if we ignore a person, that person ignores us. And if we ignore that person for ages, that person ignores us more, right? And the more that we ignore that person, the more they will ignore us. And when it finally comes to speaking to this person, they're going to be ignoring us. You know, there's an aspect of this space in our body that's like, I really want to connect with you, but there's also some level of resentment, or like, but you haven't been giving me your energy, you haven't been with me, you haven't been connecting to me, you haven't been caring for me, you've been shaming me, you've been resentful towards me, you've been telling me I'm disgusting. So what am I going to give to you? Are you even going to listen? And that's a voice that's quite common in our bodies when it comes to connecting to the space. It's like, we need to be persistent in telling our body that this is where we want to be. This is what we want to be doing. This is really what we want. Like, hey, I'm serious. It's for real. I'm here. I'm present. I want you. I want you in my life. I want to be connected to you. And this just feels like a really important piece in being able to trust that what we are doing is going to be serving us in the long run. To trust that the relationship we have with our body is in our hands, but it's a process. And that's why we have 8 weeks together, you know, because there really is a process involved. I've been doing these sessions with women for a long time now, and the results have been phenomenal. The results have been incredible. But I've really felt that there's a level of journey and a level of patience with the whole process that I wanted to cater to. And that's really what this deep inner knowing is about. Yeah. Is this helping? Is this beneficial? Is this serving you? You getting something from this?
Thank you.
Yay. I'm feeling like the weeks to come are going to go into the pelvic bowl as a whole in enough depth for me to not feel inclined to cover it in any more detail now. I feel like the video is something that you can watch and go over and really feel into. But when it comes to these tasks, really be patient with yourself, really be persistent, keep returning to these spaces, keep returning to what you're feeling, and also observe how it shifts after the sessions with me. So the first session relates to the ovarian energy. It's the ideas energy that I speak about in the video. And this is the first unlock. This is the first activation. And then we come down into the womb space, the womb walls, and the cervix. So this has to do with the holding and also the birthing process that I speak about in the video. And this holding and birthing process is like a whole other level of our system and how we can relate to our system. So really tuning into that system and utilizing it in relation to that birthing, holding, birth ideas, holding, birth, pleasure system, that format really assists us in being able to connect deeper with whatever's going on, like being able to tune into what we need and where we're at. So the second session is gonna spark up and plug you into a whole new realm or a whole new level of being able to connect to your system. And then the third session, as well as the vagina and the clitoral energy. So that's very much about the birthing and also the pleasure aspects of our body. And what we're able to do when we can drop deep enough into our system to hear and feel the different spaces, we're able to utilize this natural progression to feel into where we're at. And I think something that I didn't articulate in the video is that this ideas, holding, birth, pleasure cycle is a cycle, right? So sometimes I'm lost for ideas. What I need to go to is the cycle that feeds my ideas. The stage of the cycle that feeds my ideas is the pleasure. If I drop into my pleasure, that inspires and that motivates me through my fingers, and I can't quite grasp anything. Then I go back to the ideas. And if the ideas are there, then something is going to land and I'll be like, that's what I want to bring into my body and pursue. And that's my truth. And that's where I'm really at. So basically what the ovarian energy sparks up is one thing. What the womb space and the womb walls take to and receive is another thing. It's like, is your womb energy wanting to hold that? Is it ready to hold that? Is it in a space to cater of that idea, right? So we can cater to the womb space in relation to all of that. And then we can come down into the cervical energy. And that's very much about, like, are we open enough? Are we ready enough? Where are our boundaries? Where is our release? A lot of our ancestral stuff sits in the cervix. A lot of our ancestral wounds. So a lot of that closing is very much to do with the cervix. I've come across a number of women who experienced difficult births because their mother's cervixes weren't opening. And it literally is that pressure. And the story behind those kinds of things are like a pressure to be on time externally, a pressure to meet the doctor's timing of when you should give birth, or, you know, whoever else's external timing of when we should be ready to do what we're not quite ready to do. And this is why I have a lot of patience and a lot of compassion for the resistance that is sitting with a lot of women. Like, I feel resistance too. If you're feeling resistance, it's probably because your cervical energy needs to be activated slightly differently, or you need to connect with something which brings a sense of safety to open. You can't force yourself open as a woman. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. Do not try to force yourself open as a woman. You must allow yourself to open. And forcing and allowing, pushing and allowing are two very, very different things. Power versus force are two very different things. And when we look at the scale of consciousness, which is a map and a system which looks at high resonance and low resonance emotions in the body. Low resonance is force. It's where we're pushing things to happen. And power is higher resonance, where we're able to just manifest things into happening and allow things to happen. This is where we're love and above. Like, if you find that map that will maybe make more sense to you, I'm happy to share that if that's something you're curious to understand more about. But what I'm really trying to get at is that what we need to aspire to is coming into our power, so that we're not forcing things, so we don't feel forced into things, so that we can be saying no from a place of allowing our no to be expressed rather than pushing our no into the world. Because that's when our boundaries become healthy. That's when our masculinity comes into a healthy space. And so what it is about is being able to connect to the no of the body, so that we can then allow that no to be expressed. Otherwise, there's a disconnection and the no is pushed, and it's not being fueled from a natural, truthful space. It's not being fueled from a space of integrity and deep inner knowing. Like, I know this is my no. I can sense this is my no. And so I am therefore allowing my no to be expressed rather than denying my no. You know, the no is present and we therefore allow it rather than denying it. If the no is not present, if we're not connected to our body, then there's no way for us to allow that no, because it's not there. We don't know that it exists in the way that we need to know it exists. So there's these various spaces in the body that we can tune into, and over the coming weeks, we'll really be able to go into each of these spaces and the function of each of these spaces in greater depth so that you can really understand what they're about. Does anyone have any questions? Is this serving? Oh, you're all so snug. I love it. It's perfect. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to unmute you quickly. Oh, Lou, I've still got you there. Okay, hey Lou, you're not muted right now. So do you have any questions? Is this serving you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm keen to learn about each part more, so I know what I'm connecting with more, because I feel it, but I'd like to know. I guess that's just part of the course, and it will come in time. And I do feel connected, but there's still stuff that's unclear. But I know that it's coming with what you'll teach me. I think that's all it is just educating myself with each part of it and what it all represents. That's where I'm at, really.
Amazing. Yeah, so each of the weeks from now are going to be about each of the spaces specifically, and understanding what that even means, and what I'm really interested in is how we as women can tangibly connect to these spaces. So how we can utilize them in a day-to-day sense. So you just received that message of dropping into your feminine, being able to translate that in a way that can be actioned in real life. Is something that I'm really interested in us being able to do as women. A lot of this work is kind of hosted in retreat settings or workshop settings, and so we go into this space where a container is held and we dive deep into it and we sense it and we feel it, but then we come back into our day-to-day reality and it kind of doesn't quite fit, because you're unable to exercise everything that happened within that workshop, or maybe whatever that might be.
I totally relate to that, actually. With that workshop we did in Covent Garden, I came out and I felt like I'd been tripping, like it was like some little, like, it was amazing and the energy was really good, but it's like sustaining that and learning how to action it all in day-to-day life is, I think everything really, because you can go to these events and they make you feel fantastic, but actually are you embodying what you've learned and taking it forward into life and learning to work with it all the time, because you get given so much, and it's almost like I think you need to kind of it needs breaking down into small pieces, I think, for it to understand it. And
Definitely. Yay. Yes, I mean it's everything, and it's what I love, and I feel like I'm so full of information to give to you all. Another thing that I want to say at this point whilst we're speaking about it is, please let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. This is the first time I've run this kind of course before, and I'm really full of this content. I feel like I have so much to give, and I'm really wanting to find the right pacing and the right timing of giving you all enough to really absorb and feel like you're learning and feel like you're able to connect with the content, but also not bombarding you with so much that you just So if I am going too fast, or if you need things breaking down further, please make that clear to me. I'm more than happy. You are more than welcome to drop a message in the group publicly and go, hey, Yana, could you clarify this thing for me? Hey, Yana, really feeling like this just went a bit too fast. I'd really love some clarification on this or that, whatever it might be. But likewise, if you feel like there isn't enough content and it's kind of like, well, yeah, I know this already, or we've kind of gone over this, and I, I'd like a bit more information on top of it. Can you extend on what you've given us? Then please make that clear as well, because I'm still tuning into where everyone's at in terms of their knowledge and their understanding and their embodiment of this stuff, and how I can really cater to your journey. So likewise, if you're feeling like, I need more of the knowledge aspect of things, let me know. If it's more about being able to embody, if it's more about being able to feel held and witnessed, whatever that might look like, please, please, please let me know how I can design this course in a way that serves you, in a way that really gives you the most juice out of what we're doing here. That's why I'm here. That's what I want. I want you all just feeling connected, feeling empowered, feeling juiced up, feeling like you can rely and trust your body to be giving you the truth and be giving you your answers, and to really be walking away from these 8 weeks feeling empowered, feeling connected, feeling transformed, and feeling grounded in yourself and grounded in that deep inner knowing that I've named the course around. So yeah, that feels important, and I'm glad that I've said that. I'm gonna mute you, Lou and Christine. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Everything you both talked about now last makes a lot of sense. And personally, it's new to me, all this content about connecting to all the different energies and how to use them. And it's still a bit unclear, I need to hear things more than once. So it doesn't matter to me that I cannot really connect to what you're saying, because I know that it comes in, and then next time I'll understand it in a different way, and then suddenly I'll know how to use it.
Yeah. Are there any specific areas of what I've been talking about that you'd like extra clarity around? Or is there any terminology that I'm using that isn't clear?
No, not really. It's all this is how my brain works. It's all a bit hazy right now, so I don't even know what to ask,
Yeah.
But I'm sure that when I look at it again, it will be more clear.
Yeah.
One thing that came up when you talked about I don't even remember what you talked about, but I had an insight, why I was scared to say no. If I feel a clear no in my body and I express it, I think my fear is then what? What happens then next? And that uncertainty, do I have to do something then to put the attention on me? And I think it relates to knowing what I want. And if I don't know what I want, or if I fear that I don't know what I want, then it's harder to say no, because then I have to be in charge. So it's just an insight from something you said along the way.
Nice. This is very much why connecting to our dreams and connecting to our fears is a big part of connecting to this energy. Our deepest fears and our deepest yes and no is kind of sitting among all of this energy in our bodies, and it's what we're releasing during the sessions. So yeah, the sessions and this whole course is really intended to serve you in that no becoming clearer. But I would also invite you to really write and get your teeth into what you want. What's the vision of your life? A nice way to do it is to write a bucket list. What do you want to achieve before you die? Where do you want to be? Or also connecting to the perfect day. What would your perfect day look like? What would you be doing, and how can you make that happen? And when you're able to connect with these ideas levels, This is where the ovarian energy comes in. When the ideas come through, then we're able to ground the ideas and bring them in and start holding them. And that's where asserting the boundaries comes in much clearer. So yeah, really connecting to that vision of what you want. What do you want and why do you want it? What's that going to give you? Another piece to that is to connect to what you want altruistically and narcissistically. So what do you want for the world? You know, what do you want for everyone else? And also, what do you want for yourself? So when there's ever any action, a really nice way to step in and understand and cover the whole spectrum of why you want something is to connect to the altruistic and the narcissistic. Because we fluctuate between these things. Sometimes it's like, I don't even want this. I don't want anything for myself. I'm content. I'm happy. Like, but the drive of giving something like to others is huge. Like, I want other women to be connected to this. Oh my God, can you imagine what that would do? Like, community wise, I want the world to change. I want to be in service to the world in this way. And sometimes I'm like, I can't be bothered with people. I don't want anything to do with the world around me. Just like, fuck off. And then that's when I can connect to like, well, Yana, what do you want? Well, actually, I really wish that I could have this kind of lifestyle and I could live here and I could, do you know what? I would love to just have a bungalow by the beach where I can like switch off from the internet and do nothing. And then it's like, well, Yana, what do you need to do to make that happen? Oh, well, yeah, I could go back to that thing that I want, couldn't I? So connecting to both sides is a really nice thing to do as well when it comes to dropping deeper in. And what we find happens is the more we connect to what we want, the more that space inside of us starts to like pulsate and move and like do its thing. And then that's going to bring up all of the reason why we refrain from really going into what we truly want is because it lives in the same space as our trauma and our deepest fears. So the moment that what we really want starts to pulsate, all of those fears and all of that trauma and all of those trigger states start to pulsate too. It's like, I don't want the fear. I don't want the self-doubt. I don't want all of those negative things. And so we refrain from connecting to the wants in the first place. So yeah, that's why in week 1, I speak about connect to your dreams and also connect to your fears, you know, because they really go hand in hand. And when you can name both of them really clearly, then when they show themselves, you're like, I know who you are and I know what you're about. Like, I know you. Don't play games with me. There's a power that you have over them because they're familiar. They're not a stranger in the corner. They're someone that you've gotten to know. Is that useful to you?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yay. So yeah, even like going back to week 1, sharing your dreams, sharing what you want with the group, and also sharing the fears. You know, I want this, but I'm afraid that you know, I want this amount of money, but I'm afraid that I'm going to be rejected because people think that people with money are evil. Whatever the story is, identify it and share it and name it, and then it becomes less of a thing as well, because then it's like, well, I just did it. You know, I'm sure you kind of felt with the videos, like a lot of resistance around posting a video. And then you posted the video and you're like, oh my God, I posted a video. I kind of posted a video. Yeah, I can post a video anytime. What video problem? I am. You know, that's what happens in life with anything. And so being able to name our fears and name what we want allows it to neutralize itself in our body more. And then we're able to connect with it more. And then we're able to be like, yeah, this is my thing. Yeah, this is what I want. We become much more grounded in it. And with that comes our yes, now, and no, because that's what our yes and now and no is based upon. Yeah. I'm going to move to Roxy. Hello.
Hello.
So I'm just, I know you left. I'm just asking, has this been useful? What are you taking away from this? And do you have any questions as well for me about it all?
Yes, very, very useful. There's so much like that's useful in what you've been saying. I think I would want to go back and maybe make some notes as reminders, just to connect with it more. I was literally just thinking about that, like that ability to name your fears, I think is actually, I love other people, and I've always thought, oh, like, because I don't like doing it really, like I don't like naming it, but I think if you actually name it, then you can slay it. It's not as scary. And I've definitely observed in other people naming it, and I'm thinking, oh, they're saying they're so afraid, and then they do it amazingly or whatever it was, and I'm like, how did they do that? So this is something I'm really like, I think I've been coming to, which is having that confidence, just to not be too afraid to name my fears, to actually like bring them out into the open, talk about them, and then not let them actually dictate what you do or how you act or how you feel. So that was a big one for me. And I really feel that, so like memory of observing someone talking about that they were so afraid of something, and then they do it and they're fine, and I'm like, how did you do that? But I think it helps.
I mean, to reiterate, I've kind of already said this, but the level of fear that we feel is usually intrinsically the level of what we have for fear for things that most, right? The fear, if like, I don't fear failing a golf game because I don't care about golf, but I fear failing in delivering the content for my business that I wish to deliver, because that's what matters to me. That's what I want. That's what I want to be pursuing. So naming our fears can also lead us directly to the things that we want most, and our greatest dreams, which leads us to our fears, which leads us to our dreams, which leads us to our fears, and the two go hand in hand and they keep dancing. But being able to name our fears also leads us to naming what we want most, and that can just be so beneficial to us as humans. Knowing what we want allows us to know where we want to go and what we want to do, and it allows us to align ourselves to a life which really serves us. Do you have any questions?
Do I have any questions? What do I think? When you mentioned about boundaries, then for me, like at the moment, work popped up just because I've been going to work full time as normal, and I think at the moment, particularly right now, and feeling a lot of sickness, I find it hard and it's tiring, and I'll be there like, oh my God, I just want to get into my bed and go to sleep. And then when yesterday, when I did like have the bleed and I didn't know if things were okay or not, my escape self that's like, say things are not okay, I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, okay, I'm gonna quit everything and not run away, but I'm gonna go away or go somewhere else, or like, I definitely very strongly was like, that's it, I'm gonna quit work and leave. And it's not, I do like my work. I still think it's like I'm on my journey to doing what I really, really want to do. But I do feel like this is helping. That's like a catalyst to get there. And I just think now I know everything is okay at the moment. I'm like, and the doctors at Torbay said to me something. They said, I said, do you think I should like rest for a day or so off work and things? And she was like, I think you should take 2 weeks off. And I was like, what? Oh my God, that sounds incredible. And like, I remember feeling so like, relieved, and like, also I think, because I feel like if the doctors say that, it makes it okay. And I find it a lot harder for me to just be at work and just say, I need to have this time off. So I think it's just being able to, I think it's like having self-confidence and that that sense of yourself and like your deep inner knowings, and to be grounded in them enough to say what you need. And just they include your boundaries. So that my boundary is like, maybe I need time off work, you know, not to just make myself go. And I'd be breaking my boundary if I do make myself go. And for me, so my question is like, how do I really find that confidence to do it and feel good about doing it, and not feel like, I don't know, like weak or like I shouldn't be doing it, or like, yeah, that's an interesting one. I think that's my question.
What if you decide that the strongest thing you could possibly do for yourself is honor what your body needs? Would you?
It definitely is. Like, I know that it is. It's just for me, it's embodying that knowledge sometimes into my body and allowing it to be embodied, like allowing my body to know it as well.
So there's two answers. One of the answers would be, well, just do it. Just do it and feel it on the other side. The other answer, if there's deeper levels of resistance, is to start doing smaller things which honor your body and what your body wants. So there might be very small boundaries that you then tune into that are like, actually, I don't like that thing being there, or I don't like that habit of mine, or my body doesn't like that habit of mine of not caring about what's in this place, or staying up too late at night, or I don't know what your patterns are, but if you can start tuning into the things that you are already doing in your day-to-day life, that you're doing to yourself to dishonor what your body needs and what your body is asking for, then you'll be able to start shifting those little things up. And how we do anything is how we do everything. So shifting up those little needs is going to really plug us into something which is more of service to ourselves. Yeah. So starting with the little things, the tiniest things. What's the smallest thing that you can do for yourself right now, which is serving your body's boundaries? And the more that you can exercise the tiny things, how you do anything becomes how you do the bigger things. So how you do those small things becomes how you do those bigger things. So you can always understand, okay, the way that I'm doing the bigger things reflects the way that I'm doing the smaller things, and the way I'm doing the smaller things reflects the way I'm doing the bigger things. So the big thing of saying, you know what, I need 2 weeks off work can really be brought down to, I need 2 minutes extra before I have that conversation or make that phone call. Like someone's calling me on the phone and I need 2 minutes before I speak to them. You know, it can be that. It can be really refining down to the things which seem abstract, but those tiny violations of our boundaries build up. So finding the micro places, the tiny places where you're exercising and allowing that violation, sniping them, like really just being like, I'm not about it. I'm gonna, on every single level that I possibly can, I'm going to honor what I know my body is asking for. And then you demand through how you hold yourself that the world treats you that way. So the world will always reflect back to you how you are towards yourself. And if you are like, you know what, I deserve that 2 minutes, I deserve that 2 hours, I deserve that 2 days, I deserve that 2 weeks, the world will start saying, you know what, you deserve that 2 hours, you deserve 2 weeks, you deserve that. And it's all based upon how we hold ourselves. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. Yes, it does. I know it. I've been there before. Like with that sort of giving that to myself, and then I think I get caught back up in other people's ideas of what you can allow and what's not allowed. Yeah.
You get to make it up. You get to make it all up. We're all making it all up anyway. All of the laws, all of the rules, all of the information, all of the words, all of everything that exists, people have made up, you know?
Yeah.
Every single thing that exists has been made up by someone or something at some point. And that's the power we have to make things up. Like, we're already making it up, so let's keep making it up, but in a way that serves us. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah,
Has it been?
I would agree with that. Yeah, very good.
So what's one thing that you can do for yourself right now which serves you in a way that you haven't been serving yourself so far?
Probably to just stretch a bit more, to like give my body a little bit more attention. I think to like, whether I do some really gentle qigong or do some gentle yoga, I think actually doing that would be honoring my body a little bit more.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I would say before you even get caught up in a time frame of how often you're going to do that or for how long for, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it as soon as you can. And it's this thing of, you start to spiral into a bigger thing. I was speaking to Lou earlier about morning rituals. It's a lot of the time we're like all or nothing, and so we try to set out these big fancy rituals, and it's like, oh, I don't have time to do all of those 10 million things that I know are really going to serve me, so I'm not going to do any. Whereas if we can go, you know what, I task myself to just write down at least 3 words in my book before I wake up properly, I can go about my day. Or I commit to having breakfast before I check my messages, or whatever that might be. If you can task yourself to just one stretch, that's going to then snowball into stretching more and feeling the goodness and it expanding through your body.
Yes.
Yay. Happy stretching. Lou, do you have anything else to say before we close this call and wrap this one up?
I don't think so. But my intention is just to call in softness with myself and others, because I didn't say that when I introduced when I spoke earlier.
I love that.
That's an important one for me right now.
I love that. I love that. So I invite you all, you two here now, and anyone else who's watching, to share your wants and your fears and what you're going to do about them with the group. So this might be a list of your wants and fears. It might be one major want and fear. But find the pairing, right? Find the fear that matches the want. Name them both. And then name what you're going to do to shift that. Is that something you feel comfortable with doing?
Fear and wants, name them, then share them.
Yeah. Name your fears, name your wants, and then name how you respond to understanding those things about yourself, basically.
Okay.
Let's just close up quickly with this. So just rubbing our hands together. Really feeling the warmth in our hands, calling on our intentions. Breathing them in, with the exhale sinking deeper into our intentions, and then washing our body with this warmth. So just brushing down our whole body, allowing this intention to bathe us, absorbing it through our entire being, loving ourselves with this intention, and just thanking yourselves for being present, for showing up, for being here, for investing in yourselves. Just moving your body around a little bit. Opening yourself up to absorb, to digest everything that we just shared together. And finding stillness. Thank you so much for being here. So much love to you all. Thank you to everyone who's catching on the replay as well. I love you all very, 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 very much. And I appreciate you, doing this, being here with me and stepping in. It's so beautiful. It's so exciting. And I really, really love it. If there's any way that I can serve you better through this process, if there's anything that comes up, any wants, any needs that are directly related to the course, or perhaps not even directly related to the course, please do share. I'm very, very open to serving you, to serving what you need in any way possible. So please communicate if there's anything. Much love, and I will speak to you all soon.
Thank you.
Bye, beautiful
Thank
people.
you.
Bye.